So we're going to do something a little different here. This is my main amplifier that I use. It's a garnet stencil, which means it was made under the MANN, M-A-N-N label, but it was actually made by Garnet. And let's see if I can get it to focus. It's actually MR100, I believe. And I keep the face up plate off of it to keep the tubes cool. So, and then below that, my much beloved deluxe reverb. This thing is a battle tested amplifier from my jam days. I put a negative feedback switch on the back, get a little treble gain, and a vibrato disconnect switch. And one of the pots, you pull it and you get a little more gain too. And with both of them on, it just sounds really great. And it's reversible. And there's that Jim Marshall guy. So here's what we're going to be discussing. Oh, well, okay, the Marshalls. That's my Marshall SV20 Studio Vintage 20. It's a kick-ass little amp. It's 20 watts, uses EL34s and three 12AX7s, I believe. And it sounds like an actual Marshall. I mean, Plexi. It's just, I don't use it that much for videos, but it's just a monster. Below that, kind of hidden back there, is Mick Graben's JTM45 Marshall that he built for me ahead. I need to do some more demos with that. But here's what we're mostly going to be discussing at the front end of this video. And that's the pedals that Gary Moore used. I've always been kind of fascinated with his tone. And, you know, he owned Peter Green's guitar for quite a while. But he used pedals with it. And the main pedals he used was the Marshall Guv'nor. I have one of the originals here. Although this one was made in Japan instead of the UK, but it's just as good as the original. The Bad Monkey, that's much more contemporary. And the Tube Screamer Classic. I actually bought this when it was new. And it's very simple. I actually have a photo of the markings of where he set the knobs, so he would remember. And my trainer. This has been slightly modified. This is a 1965 signature trainer. And my friend, this thing was a nightmare. It got shipped from Canada. And it's got these huge, heavy transformers in it, and all of them bent during shipping. They actually they didn't tear up the chassis, but they twisted on the chassis and bent the chassis a little bit. And then it's got this nightmare pan on the bottom. You take it off. Every time I took it off, something would die in the wiring in there, or the capacitor, or even one tube blew up on the workbench. It went back and forth and back and forth, and finally it's stable. And my friend Greg Simon put a switch in it so I could switch to Marshall tone stack. And this thing plugged into 2 greenbacks is just a monster. I need to do that too. And then here's the mics I use. I've got a Royer 100, I think it's 100, and an SM57. And pretty much they're right on the, in the middle of the cone, except the SM57 is just a little bit over. So that's just an intro to what we're going to do here. Okay, so the other part of this video is going to be how to adjust your poles on your PAFs. And I'm going to tell you verbally how to do it, and then I'm going to try and demonstrate it, but I'm not real sure if the amp will record well enough for you to hear it really well, because when you start moving your pole screws around, you're disconnecting them from the magnetic circuit briefly, and so you've got a screw pole like this, and it's sitting in its keeper, and it's south polarity, and then you turn your screw like that, and then it's not perfectly aligned with the magnetic circuit anymore, so the pickup can go dark on you. So this can be a little hard to record, I think, but we'll find out. So that's a real important thing, and when I sell pickups and I pack and ship them to you, there's a little instruction sheet there, and I've already set the pole screws to where they should be, ideally. So you can screw with them. You can screw around with the screws after that on your own, but most people end up back where I set them. So that'd be fun. Okay, enough of that. So, set this down here for a second. And what do I have in my pocket? A PAF replica. Of course, you can't read it or see it. So, first of all, the pole screws are the dark coil, because it has a long magnetic circuit. It's got the screws. The screw head is on the top. That's how you set the height of the screw, obviously. And it sunk into a pole keeper, which is a metal bar, and it's down here at the bottom of the coil, and the magnet is put up against it. So the purpose of that thing is to unite all these pole screws, turns it into like one magnetic unit. It's like a comb almost, but it's unified by the keeper in the bottom. So hope you understand that. This is hard to describe this stuff. So, and here is where the slugs are. They're not adjustable. You can't see them. they're flush with the top of the bobbin and the coil. You can't adjust them. They're set for life. So, and then over here on the sides, you have the up and down adjustments for the entire pickup. So you have to adjust the pole heights and the height of the pickup by itself to find the sweet spot. So in neck position, you want the most clarity you can get. And if you've got the poles sticking out, the more they stick out, the more you make the darker coil dominate the sound. And you don't want that with the neck pickup. You want the most clarity and brightness that you can get. And the way you do that is you put them all down flat with the top of the pickup cover. Put them all down flat. That's going to help the slug coil dominate the sound more. So you're going to get sharper, better clarity. It's just a better sound for the neck. Simple as that. That's all you do. Now, I'm talking about PAFs here. I'm not talking about factory pickups from like the big commercial companies that you see their pickups at Guitar Center, where the Guitar Center people go and play Stairway to Heaven before they die. Now, when Gibson shipped brand new Les Pauls back in the 50s, what they did was they set these pull screws in an arc radius like that to follow the arc, the radius arc of the neck. And I discovered that doing that on the bridge gave it a real nice round tone. And if you set the pull screws down flat with the top of the pickup cover, it was a lot brighter, and it could be even annoyingly bright. And so I discovered, I started setting the arc on the bridge pickups and the neck pickup, and I didn't like it in the neck. And then I discovered that if you put those down flat, you get a better sound in the neck, more clarity. In the bridge, you got maybe too much clarity, and you didn't want that. So I don't know if this works for these big factory companies, because they're not making PAF replicas. So this method may not work for their stuff. So just keep that in mind. So on the bridge, you can look at the pull screws as like a comb. And if you look at my fingers here, they're in a radius arc. You can almost think of these as graph equalizers. So if you got these up higher than the end screws, you're giving more volume to the middle, to the D and G poles, so that you're diminishing the high E a little bit, so it won't be so sharp and bright and biting, and it will be a rounder sound. So you start out with the arc very low and take a listen to it. And then slowly, by quarter turns only, you can move the entire radius up a little bit and then take a listen. And then you have to take into account your pickup height too, because if you're raising the radius, these high D and G strings are getting closer to the strings. So you don't want them too close, or then, you start getting magnetism pulling on the strings a little bit, and that doesn't sound good. So experiment with a very low radius setting. Take it up a little bit more and listen. Take it up even a little bit more. Drop the pickup height a little bit and listen. And between all of that adjustments, you're going to find the sweet spot. And once you find it, leave it alone. Don't keep screwing with the pull screws, because you can actually strip out the bobbins. And I find a lot of vintage PAFs actually barely have any thread left in the bobbins, and some of them even, they practically fall out because they've been screwed around so much. So that's the way to get the best warmth out of the bridge pickup, and it's by small degrees you'll find it. So when I ship my pickups, I set the pull screws on the bridge in a radius to the average adjustment that I really like. And when you get the pickups brand new, they need to break in like 3 or 4 weeks, because you've got all this brand new magnetic circuit, all these parts settling into the sound, and the coil too. All that stuff has to have the AC signal running through it, and the magnet needs to be pulsing its AC signal, and so it takes a while for them to get acquainted. So you do your adjustments, and then, like I said, when you rotate a screw while it's in the magnetic circuit, the pickup can go dark, and then you'll listen to it the next day, and it may be, it'll probably be brighter. And if it's too bright, then you do a little adjustment and then listen to it, check your pickup height. And then listen to it to the next day and see. And so you don't want to get too crazy with this, with a new PAF replica, because you'll be adjusting it too much, and you could strip out the bobbin screws, the bobbin threads. So that's basically what I'm going to teach you here, and I'm going to try and demonstrate it through video and recordings through the amp. So let's go there and see what happens. Before we do the pull screw demonstration, let's take a break and play with these pedals that Gary Moore used. I used to be a pedal guy back in the 90s, and then we landed in Portland, and I went to a lot of blues jams there, and the hosts were recording guys. They were really professional blues players, and actually very few, if almost none of them, used pedals or pedal boards. And their tone was just fantastic. They just plugged straight into old Fender amps mostly and cranked it up, and bam, amazing. So eventually one night my pedals failed me. I couldn't put them on stage quick enough, and so I played without them, and it was just way better tone, and I never really went back to it. But Gary Moore inspired me to go look up the pedals that he used to get his amazing tone with his Peter Green guitar. So I eventually tracked down 3 of them and bought them all, and I thought I would bring them out and play them for you and see what you think. The favorite of them, of the 3, is the Marshall Guv'nor, and mine is the old one, not the original made in the UK, but the ones they made in Japan, which were just as good. So have a listen, see what you think, and have some fun. So this is a Epiphone Elitist. I have like 5 or 6 of these and a SG, and they are really superior Les Pauls. Full maple cap, long Tenon neck joint, real Brazilian fretboard, and bone nut, and these things are going up in value, and they're a bargain, and not many people know about them. But anyway, so the bridge poles are adjusted into a radius arc, neck poles down flat. This is an old VL2 set, and let's take a listen. And now the neck pickup pulls are all down flat. So today I've got the bridge and neck adjusted exactly opposite. So I've got the pull screws here on the bridge set exactly backwards. So they're down flat. And then up here, on the neck, I've got them all raised up. So we will now take a listen to see what that does. Okay, this is the second day with the Elitist and the VL2 set. And so the bridge pull screws are all the way down flat. And I had to raise the pickup up a little bit because the pull screws, once they were put down flat, it left too much space and I lost power in the bridge. The neck pickup, the pull screws are up as you've seen, and maybe they're a little bit too high, but surprisingly it maintained clarity and brightness, but it's almost a little too close to the strings. But this neck pickup, this is the old VL2 set, and the magnet wire in the neck is magnet wire that was really bright back around 2006 or so, and they don't make that wire anymore. So you will probably get different results, but I was actually surprised how clear this neck pickup got. So do screw around with raising your neck pulls, and I would keep them not in a radius, but raise them up and see if you maintain clarity, and just see what it sounds like. These are all tools I'm giving you. So let's take a listen here. Bridge first. Whew, that is brighter. That I don't like that sound. course, how this is recording might be different. You know, maybe it'll sound good on the recording. So, okay, let's take a listen to the neck now. Like I said, these are raised up, as you saw. And this is an older wire that was really, really bright back when. So this was really surprising to me. There you go. So that's pull screw adjustments and height adjustments. So use them as you will. Epiphone elitist rule. Use them. Abuse them.